only 11% of Americans have read the entire Bible. So a number of Bible in a Year podcasts, guides, and studies have come along to help you complete that goal. But is that the best option? Through my less than extensive research on Google, it's hard to say how many people complete the Bible in a Year challenge, but if I had to guess, the numbers are low. Pretty low. So does the reading the Bible in a year set you apart as a Christian? Well, some of the creators of Bible in a Year challenges would make you think so, promising that your faith will change for the better. But I don't think that they can guarantee that. Everyone's experience will be different. And the proof is in the results. If it was truly life-changing, then why do so many people give up? The answer lies in addressing the one-size-fits-all approach. In this video, I'll address some of the problems with it and what we can do to add a little flexibility. Hi, I'm Chad Torgerson with Directional Faith, and I'm a spiritual director that's worked one-on-one with people like you trying to grow their faith. I've worked specifically with people who have tried to take on the Bible in a Year challenge with pretty mixed results. And from my experience, I've seen how scripture can make a difference in people's lives. But it begins with addressing the issues with reading the Bible in a year. Here's what typically happens. A good Christian, like you, decides they want to read the entire Bible, which is a great goal, by the way. They download the podcast, ebook, or other guide and start on their way. At first, all goes well. They're on fire. They're devouring scripture and telling everyone they know about it. But at some point, maybe 2 weeks in, maybe 2 months in, it goes off the rails and they quit before getting very far. This isn't uncommon. You might be watching this video because this happened to you. Or you might be watching this video because you're hoping that it doesn't happen to you. I think that we can address some of the most common reasons people fail to complete the Bible in a year. Let me be clear though. I have no problem with the content itself, or the content creators for that matter. I think they've done a wonderful job of putting together ways of incorporating scripture into your life. My goal is to help you use this wonderful content that was created for a wide audience in ways that fit your specific needs. I'm going to cover 4 problems many Christians face. The last one is the simplest fix, and I guarantee that it'll help you complete this goal, and probably many others. So let's dive in. There's a certain satisfaction that comes with setting goals and completing them. The Bible in a Year provides a daily chance to feed that part of us. Each day comes with a set of scriptures to consume. You wake up with a task to complete for the day. But then life comes in. Distractions come at you from all directions, and before you know it, you're just checking a box on the task list of reading the Bible in a year. It's just one more task to complete in a life full of obligations. And this leads us to problem number 1, motivation. Why are you doing it? At some point, your goal of reading the Bible in a year will compete for your time and energy with your other obligations. And if it has become just a task on your task list, you might forget why you started. Once you've forgotten why you started in the first place, it's only a matter of time before you quit altogether. The way to avoid this, though, is to constantly remind yourself of why you began in the first place. What was your initial motivation to take on this challenge? Then, before you start each day's readings, take time to remind yourself of why. This will help keep you motivated throughout the entire 1-year journey. Even after all that, you may fall behind at some point. But stick around because I'll describe how to handle that towards the end of the video. Moving on. Sometimes motivation is not the problem. You're plenty motivated to complete each daily task, but life is so busy that you're having a hard time keeping up. To complete the entire Bible in 1 year requires setting aside 10, 20, 30 minutes a day to read or listen to the material. And that doesn't include time for reflection. At first, you clear your schedule and devote 30 minutes a day in the morning to it. But then your schedule gets a little busier and you start postponing it to the afternoon and eventually to the evening. As weeks go by, you're rushing through the content just to get it done. And this is why problem number 2 is time. How does the Bible in a year fit into your schedule? If time becomes a problem, the Bible in a Year challenge will start to compete with other obligations in your life. It goes from a joy to a struggle. And once you begin struggling just to get it done each day, you'll be tempted to simply give it up. It was a great idea, but you simply don't have the time. Finishing the Bible in a year then may seem unreasonable, but the reality is that you have plenty of time. It's the deadline of completing it in a year that's unreasonable. As an alternative to reading new scriptures daily, what if you only read 1 set of scriptures per week? You could read them once at the beginning of the week or repeat the same ones daily for a week. This method would take the pressure off and allow you to enjoy the process more. The 1-year deadline is completely artificial, and there's no reason to finish that quickly. But now you're saying, Chad, if I only did 1 day's reading per week, then it would take me 7 years to finish the Bible. And my response to that is, so? There's no rush. And actually, as your spiritual director, I would rather that you take your time to absorb it more, which leads us directly into our next issue. But before I get to that, if you're finding this helpful, hit the like and subscribe button so you can continue on this journey with me. Plus, it'll help more people see this video, which is better than them watching more try not to laugh videos about turtles and tuxedos or something. Let's get back to it. So we were talking about absorbing the material. I mean, the whole point of reading scripture is to actually get something out of it, right? But once you're a few weeks in, you're just completing your task and trying to fit it into your schedule. The Bible in a year gets minimal time and minimal effort. Each day it's in one ear and out the other. And the information will suffer the same fate as your high school calculus and chemistry courses. Tell me, can you tell me what a covalent bond is without Googling it? I didn't think so. And this is problem number 3, retention. How much is it actually impacting your life? Chances are you're not gaining much from the Bible in a year once you've mentally checked out. Yes, you'll be able to say that you've read the entire Bible, but what good is that if you didn't learn anything from it? What's the point if you didn't grow? To spend 30 to 60 minutes a day on anything is a gigantic task. That's at least 180 hours over the course of a year. If you're going to spend that much time on something, make sure that there is a reason for it. Saying that you read the whole Bible is not enough. God has led you to this challenge for a reason. He wants to see it make an impact in your life. And the people who devoted their time to create it want to see that too. So if you're struggling to retain the content, then let's limit the content. For example, instead of reading the entire Bible, just focus on the New Testament. Or if that's too much, just focus on the Gospels. How would that help? If you limit the amount of scripture you're reading, what you do read is more likely to have an impact. Imagine reading a couple of Old Testament chapters, a Psalm, part of the New Testament, and a Gospel all in one sitting. How much of that will you retain? You'll likely gravitate towards one reading and mentally dump the rest. So knowing that, just do one reading. And with the extra time you have, you can actually spend more time to reflect on what you've just read. It's better to complete a smaller goal, fully engaged, than a larger goal, doing the bare minimum. And this will help us segue right into our last problem. Let's pretend that you kept up with the Bible in a year plan for a good few months, but along the way, you missed a couple of days due to other commitments. You try to catch up when you can, but it's difficult. Then, after losing motivation, you stopped for a few weeks completely. When you look at the Bible sitting on your table, you realize that you haven't gained anything from it. So what was the point? Essentially, all 3 of our first problems have piled on, and you're struggling to find a reason to keep going. And now, because you're behind a few weeks, you see no way of catching back up. This leads you directly into our final problem, failing to meet your goals. And I think it's the number 1 reason people give up on the Bible in a year or any other challenge they take on. With each step in this journey, there are tasks that you'll fail to complete. You won't have enough time, you'll lack motivation, and you're not really gaining anything from it. You begin to feel like you failed, both God and yourself. I've had someone ask if they're a bad Christian because they couldn't complete it. But what actually happens if you can't complete the Bible in a year? First of all, as I said earlier, the deadline of a year isn't real. Whether it takes you 1 year or 1 year, 3 months, 4 days, and 27 minutes, no one else will care. Just keep going regardless of how long it takes. So if you take the deadline out of the equation, you can still complete your goals. Even if you've stopped for 2 months or even 2 years, just pick it back up again and keep going. If the task is too much, then apply the other principles we talked about. Scale back your goals to more manageable ones. Focus more on the impact studying scripture has on your life and less on the bragging rights of saying you've read the entire Bible. Following this path, you too can say that you've read the entire Bible in a year-ish. But more importantly, you'll be able to share with others the impact that it had. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button before you go. God bless.